Let's talk about Xbox Series consoles, mesh shaders and PlayStation 5 primitive shaders. Is there a big difference and does it really matter? Let's look into this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I would like to talk about some of these next-gen technologies like mesh shaders and primitive shaders. Obviously that's all in relation to Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 next-gen features because we finally getting some games that are using these next-gen features. Actually, we've got one that has been confirmed, so that's Alan Wake 2, and I made a video about it already, that this title is using mesh shaders. Looks like on both PC and Xbox. And after publishing this video, I've got quite a lot of people telling me that, oh, what about PlayStation 5? It doesn't use mesh shaders, so that means that it's probably not used on Xbox and that kind of stuff, right? Now, the video I've made a couple of days ago, didn't really focus on PlayStation almost at all, right? And even today, I'm not going to be comparing which is better or what's the difference in performance, because basically there are a little bit two different ways of achieving kind of same goal from where I sit, right? And obviously there's some differences as always. Some people say that mesh shaders are better, while I've heard other people saying that primitive shaders are better. Now, saying something is better is a very kind of interesting way of putting that, because that doesn't really mean much. I mean, is it better for developers? Is it better in performance? Is it better in visual quality? We don't know what that actually means, right? But anyway, and we don't really have any benchmarks to go with when it comes to like comparing mesh shaders versus primitive shaders, right? I mean, as far as I know, no games uses any of these technologies right now except Alan Wake, but Alan Wake is using only mesh shaders, at least on PC. And of course, when it comes to PlayStation versus Xbox, I mean, there's no comparison because there's no benchmarks. You cannot really do that there, right? I mean, yes, you can ask developers which one is better, but you know, for the most part, developers really don't want to talk about PlayStation 5 technology. Looks like they are really heavy under NDAs or NDRs, no, NDAs. So it is what it is. Like, we can't really talk much about the implementation of this technology, primitive shaders in PlayStation 5. But we know it's there. Mark Cerny did confirm it. A number of developers did say that too. And you know what? Like, the purpose of this video is not even to talk about which is better. I think the more important thing is that these technologies are finally being used, because like I mentioned that in my previous video, well, both mesh shaders and primitive shaders have been with us for a while now. I mean, primitive shaders is actually not a new concept, right? And primitive shaders have been first implemented, at least recently, because there might have been some other, trying to do that in the past. But as far as I know, the first, most modern GPU that is using primitive shaders that have this implemented is AMD's Vega, right? So the last GCN card, so the one before RDNA card, right? So it's been a while. I mean, must be like 5-6 years, right? So like, it's been a while and nobody actually cared to use it, right? I mean, now PlayStation actually implemented that in PlayStation 5, but same goes for mesh shaders, right? Mesh shaders have been implemented with Turing cards, and so that's like 5 years too. And now we've got Alan Wake 2, which is really the first game that is actually taking advantage of that hardware, of this feature on consoles. And really, like, it doesn't even matter which one is using which, right? I mean, I guess it also depends on the implementation and that kind of stuff, because for all we know and all we care really, and all we've seen, I mean, Xbox on paper is a more powerful console, but you don't really see that much in games. I mean, right now, and I would say for the last couple of months, maybe even a year, you know, games are pretty much even, right? I mean, both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X kind of delivers pretty much the same similar kind of performance. So there's no really much of a difference, really. I guess it's a good thing, because everyone gets a good, I mean, not every game is good, because there's been some games that haven't been really optimized, but for the most part we are actually getting pretty much the same thing on both sides. But you know, the good thing is that now, once developers you know, started really using these features, we will actually see more and more games and game engines implementing that technology too, which will translate to better games overall on both platforms, right? And whether that's primitive shaders on PlayStation 5 or mesh shaders on Xbox, I mean, for all I care, I just want you know, good looking and good running games like 60 frames per second. And Alan Wake 2 is actually pretty much almost locked 60 frames per second experience on Xbox Series X. It has few more drops on PlayStation, but it's really not much of a difference. Like I said, like 2 or 3 frames more here and there on Xbox is not really a massive difference, right? So that's why I'm saying that yes, Xbox comes with mesh shaders. Yes, Alan Wake is using mesh shaders, but at the same time, PlayStation 5 comes with their own set of tools and, you know, next gen stuff that well, looks like developers have no issues delivering very good performance on that console, despite the fact that, you know, let's face it, like on paper, you know, specs wise, we're talking about, you know, 15 to 20% more, let's call it power, better specs when it comes to Xbox specs, right? But that 15-20% more everything in terms of specs doesn't really translate to 15-20% better running games. I mean, sometimes it does, because sometimes you get games running at high resolution, so that extra power goes there. But does it really matter? Does it really is anyone actually able to spot the difference? Not really, right? So I guess it made more of a difference when we had PlayStation 5 Pro and Xbox One X, because the difference there was actually massive. I mean, pretty big, like 40% in terms of GPU performance. I think around 50% more memory bandwidth. CPU was kind of similar, but that memory bandwidth plus you know, more GPU power, that actually made a quite significant difference versus PlayStation 5 Pro in some games. But at the same time, even then, with that advantage, some games were kind of almost even on both platforms, right? So, you know, even then, not all games translated to, like, you know, not like that extra performance didn't always translate to like better performance in all games, right? So genuinely speaking, I'm just super happy about the fact that these next gen features are finally are being used. I think that's very good news, especially for Xbox Series S, which will actually really take advantage of these and next gen features, because specs are not really that great, like, you know, clock speeds and everything, but these next gen features can actually make a huge difference on Xbox Series S. On X, yeah, there's these next gen features, so we will actually get more better games, but on Xbox Series S, that's going to make a massive difference. And I think that shows with Alan Wake 2, because yes, it's a 30 frames per second game, but hey, it looks great and runs pretty very stable at 30 frames per second too, and that's just a 4 teraflops machine, right? So that's impressive anyway. So guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.